Welcome to the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur. My name is Rita Perez. Hello. I've been a travel advisor for over 10 years and am navigating this winding road of entrepreneurship with you. I created this podcast because I wanted to share all the things I've learned from leaders both in and out of our industry that I really wish I would have known way back then. But alas, the important thing is I'm aware of them now, and I want you to be too. Ready for this week's show? Let's jump in. Alrighty, hello everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I have another amazing guest here with me today. As a health coach, Beth works with people who want to lose weight, get and stay physically fit, or manage health conditions such as diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. In addition to working on the physical component of wellness, she also partners with people to help improve emotional well-being, reduce stress, and make positive, lasting changes. She works one-on-one with clients to create tailored plans that will help people set and meet their goals. Welcome, Beth.
Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Yes, this is a topic that is really near and dear to my heart, and I know that is near and dear to yours. As we were just talking offline, we all know that we need to be healthy because health is really wealth, but I don't think people actually know the type of difference that it is going to make in their lives once they do get healthy or make small changes. So in terms of being an entrepreneur, why is nutrition so important?
Yeah, and it's such a great point, understanding the why, right? Why is it important? And, nutrition is really just the first place to start. It's where you're going to get your most bang for your buck. Mm-hmm. But I do really, talk about creating a holistic approach to health. So just starting there and then moving on. But if we're just talking about nutrition, really, it's important for optimal entrepreneurship because it affects so many things. Kind of like you and I were saying, it affects brain clarity or lack of brain fog. Right, when we're not fueling our body properly, these things arise. So memory, sleep, energy, motivation, depression, anxiety. Those are all things that happen as a result of not fueling our body properly. And the list goes on. There's probably some things that I've missed. Right. So obviously, if you can create that environment of health in your body by, feeding yourself, healthy, delicious food, then it just allows your cells to function properly. And those same cells that are in your stomach are in your brain. Right. So all of those things start to resolve when you start to feel yourself better. Right. So the brain fog goes away, bad memory goes away. You start having better sleep. You can think clearer. You're more motivated. You have a better outlook on life. You're more positive about what's going on. And then this can really help you work now at a new optimal level in your business. Mm-hmm. Right. If you're clear-headed, you have more energy. And you're motivated, then your business begins to take off. The other, I actually have three.
Okay, yeah.
You just want me to do one?
Yeah, no, let's keep going because
I came up with like three that were really important that can affect your business.
Yeah.
The second one is carrying or, not fueling our body properly is that we carry around additional weight, right? So 70% of Americans are overweight and obese. And it's a huge healthcare problem that we have. And the problem with it is there's a huge stigma and stereotyping to people that are overweight and obese. Yeah. And granted, discrimination should not happen based on your size, right? Because I've been all different kinds of sizes in my life, and I still did a great job at any size. But there's this stereotype that people that are overweight or obese are seen as stupid, lazy, and ugly. And these are from scientific studies.
Wow.
And here's the interesting thing about the discrimination is that if you asked people if they thought they discriminated against people, based on their size, is they would say no. Absolutely. So
Mhm.
it's totally subconscious that these things exist, right? So as an entrepreneur, really taking care of your health and being at that healthy weight, living that healthy lifestyle could impact your business by bringing you more clients, right? If people are subconsciously thinking those things about you, they
Mhm.
might not choose you to work with,
That's true.
right?
Unfortunate, but true.
And especially if they aren't even aware of it, right? So it's not even a discrimination that people know, and the person being discriminated against doesn't know it either,
Mhm.
right? So it's kind of this underlying thing. It is something that we should not tolerate, right? Discrimination at all. It shouldn't even be something that exists, but it does. It does overtly happen, but it does, on the subconscious level happen, just from the science out there.
Yeah.
So that's a really big thing that people don't think about. And then also, if we're not feeling good about ourselves, if we have low energy, poor self-esteem, low confidence, then we're less likely to want to enter into social situations, right? We're not going to want to go to networking events or meet other people. We're going to just want to kind of hole off into our own world.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that I normally blame like me being introverted and not wanting to get out there, but I can also see where maybe subconsciously I didn't want to put myself out there because I was also overweight.
Right. You might feel judged or shamed, or
Yeah.
maybe your clothes don't fit good. You just don't feel good in your body, right?
Hmm.
So typically when I start to help people, their confidence goes up, they start feeling better, right? And then they start doing these things that they didn't even realize that they weren't doing until they started, putting their health first.
Yes.
So there's really two things there, right? The discrimination and bias, and then our own feeling. And that's why people don't want to go to the gym, right? With all the fit people, they feel
Yeah.
totally out of place,
Yep. That's
you
me.
know? But those people got that way by going to the gym. Well, actually,
Yeah.
probably changing their,
Habit.
changing their nutrition, because that's 80% of it. Probably 90 is nutrition.
Yeah. Yeah, because I just want to go a little bit on my background too, because I don't want maybe somebody who was like me a year ago to be like, oh man, here they go again talking about losing weight. But I want to say it was 2019. I got to the heaviest that I had ever been. I was in like 233, 234. And that was, I think there was just so much stress. And really, I don't, if I'm looking back on it, I don't feel like I really cared about myself that much. Like, I feel like I was still confident, but there has been like a huge transition for me. 2020 was rough on everyone. And I have something called Hashimoto's disease. So I have an autoimmune disease that attacks my thyroid. I have never really mentioned that to anybody because I've never suffered from it per se. I've never had like really any dramatic symptoms until this year, where I feel like stress is one of my root causes. And I was having intense brain fog, sweats, but then I got all chilly, and then I had fatigue, and then joint pain, and all these symptoms culminating on me, that my first step was to be gluten free. And then I've even gone on a more drastic kind of meal regimen just because of all the symptoms and everything that comes with autoimmunity. But I really feel that I've had like a complete mindset shift, in the sense that I don't see food as, I mean, and I'm a foodie, so I do miss indulging in food, but I really see it as fuel. And when I look at certain things, I'm like, okay, I'm getting like 50 vitamins in this one meal. So I see it differently. And I mean, I feel like maybe for most people that would be hard unless you are in that health mindset, or you've had some sort of crisis like I feel I've been going through, and I needed to make that change. But there have been so many positive factors that have come from that change, including reduced anxiety, because I was dealing with debilitating anxiety last fall. debilitating where, I had to start seeing a therapist because I just couldn't do it on my own anymore. And I don't really think I understood back then what food was doing to me, or the types of food that I was eating was doing to me, as I understand it now, coming on the other side of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a lot of what I do, is the mindset shift and the education about what is really happening in your body, why it's important, to fuel our bodies properly.
Mm-hmm.
And changing our relationship with food. We're all foodies. That's how we were designed, right? Mm-hmm. We're designed as humans. There's not a flaw in the system. We're designed as humans to see food and to eat it, because our body's in survival mode. It's trying to figure out when the next famine is, mm-hmm. right? So it's going to see food and we're going to want to eat it.
Yeah.
Right. And now in the days of supersize, food is in abundance. Mm-hmm. It's impossible for us to say no to this food, right? We're setting ourselves up for failure.
Yeah.
So, helping people create that environment of health that they live in, and really the food industry, and that's a whole nother topic, but they're setting us up to make us addicts, not to food. If you're addicted to food, then you would be addicted to broccoli. Right? So we're not addicted to food. We're addicted to salt, fat, and sugar.
Right? That was me.
And so everything that they do, they have their food scientists there putting it all together to make you an addict, to give you the crunch that's going to bring you back. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's so irresistible, you can't eat it. And then all the marketing, the $1 billion they spend in marketing, is leading you right to their doors. Mm-hmm. So, changing that relationship. Of course I love bacon. Of course I love potato chips. That's how they made it. But I had to break up with that stuff.
Yeah, no, same.
We broke up.
Yeah.
So it's, and really this idea of creating health, right? It's like, you can go along, like you're saying, you didn't do something until you had an event or it really got serious. Yeah. And I really want to get to people to understand that we need to create health, not wait for the medical event, the diagnosis from the doctor, the heart attack, the diabetes. We want to start to create health now so that we don't ever have that diagnosis. And what is it that you want out of life? What do you want to be here for? Let that be your driving force to make the changes.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was the first thing. Like, even before I got severe symptoms, I was having high blood pressure, and I had never had high blood pressure in my life. And so from there, I was like, because I don't like getting on medicines if I don't have to. And I was like, well, blood pressure is something I can avoid. So I started doing yoga at home. And I think like that helped me, because I don't like being out in public working out. And I just got like a yoga mat off of either Walmart or Amazon. And I just YouTube different yoga videos. And that's really what helped put me in a regimen. And I was also very kind to myself. And I said, oh, just do 30 minutes every day. Just do 30 minutes every day. I thought that was going to be very, I want to say, eatable. Like it was easy to consume that, instead of saying you're going to do like physical fitness for an hour every day. Yeah. I think everybody is a little bit different, and you have to do what's going to work for you and what you won't say no to.
Yeah. And that's really, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is habit formation, right? Because 50% of what we do in a day is a habit. And typically when people go to get healthy, they go all in, right? We have this all or nothing mindset, right? I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to work out for an hour and I'm going to kill myself. And then the next day you can't move.
Yeah.
And you're like, I never want to do that again. It sucks. Yeah. But like for you, it's like 30 minutes is what I could do. What can you do? Can you walk for 5 minutes a day? Do that, create the habit. And then that will lead to, adding more time, to feeling better. And then once you have that one habit down, move to the next. But we are a society of instant gratification. We want those instant results. Yeah. And so that's where changing that mindset from like the scale really more to this long-term health the feeling good, the longevity, the having better business as your goal, right? Not so much just the number on the scale.
Yeah. So going off of that, kind of what are three relatively easy methods that we can incorporate that would give us quick changes, either like in our health, our wellness, to be more achieving in our businesses? What are three tactics that we can incorporate that aren't going to be like, oh, I got to do this now?
Well, the first always is to get help. I mean, I'm a big proponent of getting help. As an entrepreneur and a business person, you hire a tax guy to do your taxes.
Yeah.
Right? You hire maybe somebody to do your social media that knows what it is. And because we want to spend our time working on our highest leverage activities, those things that are going to build the business the most, move our mission forward, whatever it is. So if you don't have to read the 600-page book that I've read, or the 20 or 50 600-page books that I've read to get the job done, then you hire somebody like me to develop a plan that will work for your goals, because everybody has different goals. You could be at a healthy weight and just want better habits. I mean, you could be eating McDonald's all day and not great, and still have all of these symptoms, right? So you're still not optimally healthy.
Yeah.
So whatever your goal is, I would recommend having somebody, there to help you figure out what that is. Because it provides that level of accountability. And that is a huge predictor of success, is just having that somebody to be accountable to really makes a big, huge difference. And, so just investigating, there's many different kinds of health coaches. If I don't work for somebody, there's somebody out there that does something different that'll work for you and your budget, really just getting that accountability. And then the second is really that why that I kind of talked about, really kind of sitting with what are your goals? What are your dreams? What do you hope to accomplish? Why is your health important to you? If you're healthy, what is that going to allow you to do? How will it affect your business? Having that deep desire, knowing what that is, then will help you stick with it long term, because, willpower only lasts so long. It's not an unlimited supply.
Yeah.
Right. Sometimes we're going to have to do things we don't want to get to where we want to go. And so you're going to have that vision of what you want to create driving you to make those choices.
Yeah. And you saying that kind of brings me back to about probably 10, 15-ish years ago, when I was high school, college, that's probably a little bit further back, where like I was very involved. I was very active on campus in like 5-10 different on-campus organizations. And maybe the past 5 years, I'm like, where is that person? I don't know where that person is. And I think now, like looking back, and I wouldn't say that I'm like ultra super healthy, but I'm on that journey to get there. The Strategic Travel Entrepreneur is brought to you by Mailbox Power. Harness the power to attract and nurture your clients through something many entrepreneurs have forgotten about: the mailbox. Create beautiful custom campaigns and automate annual mailings for birthdays and holidays. And with a pro account, get access to mailboxes not currently on your mailing list that are just waiting for the travel service you offer. Visit my Mailbox Power affiliate link in the show notes to get started today and support this podcast. I can say it's probably what my behaviors were back then, because especially instant gratification for me was when I saw my blood work and my antibodies went down, which is a good thing for my condition. And when I stopped eating gluten, and I was like, okay, so this stuff really does work. But these past like 2 or 3 months, like when I've been really sticking on it, so much energy, not too much anxiety. and so much clarity. I describe this to everybody. I feel like a veil was lifted, and I don't know like how I can be like, please, like if you do anything, like just try and do something a little bit healthy. But it's not just about being healthy. It is the positive consequences that happen from when you start getting on that. And food wise, if I think of like chocolate or cheese or like yummy gluten food, it's weird. Like I don't get the cravings that I used to get back then. And I miss it, but I don't at the same time. It's very strange, but also I'm kind of glad that it doesn't happen because I'm not craving and wanting to, like, I don't miss them.
Right. Well, and they're designed to give you cravings. So when you take that stuff out of your diet, your hormones balance out, right? Mm-hmm. And then it's just this whole snowball effect, right? You start to sleep better, and lack of sleep is a huge health problem for people, and so that gets all of your hormones out of balance. The hormones that tell you to eat, that give you cravings, that tell you to stop eating, your insulin, your ghrelin, your leptin, it all gets out of balance. Your adrenaline, cortisol. And so now your hormones are dictating what you eat. But as you clean up your diet, right, then those cravings start to go away and you start to crave the healthy, delicious food.
Yes.
Your taste buds actually have a shelf life of about 250 hours, which means they're turning over about every 10 days. And so as you start to do this, then that food starts to taste better, right? You start the taste buds that were eating the Oreos and the chips or whatever you were eating aren't there anymore. They're like used to the new healthy food. So then you actually start enjoying it more.
Yeah. And I think one of the fun things I had talked with my cousin about, she's like, us as Americans on the standard American diet, we don't know all the possibilities that are out there. Like there's something, I'm just very excited to try different types of produce. So like I bought radishes for a salad. I was like, ooh, I've never done that before. I bought papaya. Again, something I've never done that before.
Well, and that's a great point. As you get all that stuff out of your system, it's like your taste buds awaken. You can now taste all of these flavors, right? You're like, wow, these taste delicious. And people start noticing, if you're a true foodie, you want your taste buds, you want to have delicious, good food that's good for you, right? That you can taste. So you can taste all the flavors. Mm-hmm. But if you're putting sauces and salt and sugar and fat on it, you're not tasting the flavors of the food. You've got to really, allow that to happen in your palate.
That is very true. And you say that and I'm like, because I'm so restricted, there's a lot of things, like I can't just have a store-bought dressing. Like there's a lot of things that I'm limited to. I can't just have like a ketchup or anything. And it, in a way, kind of forces me to be a little bit creative on how you season things. And I also cheat in the sense that I do have friends that are personal chefs, so they guide me a lot and they do some of my meal prep for me. But yeah, it's a lot of things like pasta and pizza. That was like a staple in my life that I don't have that anymore.
Yeah. And that brings up a good point, right? This creativity. You've been kind of forced to take the time to deal with, your food and your health, but most people don't have the time. That's actually what gets in their way. So it's the way that our society's, set up, is that it's just too time consuming to figure it all out. Mm-hmm. And that's another reason why, getting help from somebody that can just give you a plan, right? That's my kind of third thing, is that you need a plan, right? If either you have somebody help you, right? You have people that are helping you, your chef saying, do this, do that. But fail to plan to fail. Mm-hmm. So we spend more time as a travel person planning our vacation than we do our health.
Yeah.
Right. And I actually usually I like to use the analogy that nobody likes getting on the plane for 5, 6, 10, wherever you're going hours, right? Getting on that small thing with all the other people, it's all crammed in, but they like where they're going. Health is the same thing. If you create that vision of where you're going, you'll do the work that's necessary to get there, just like vacation.
That is such like a moment for me, because a lot of what one of the organizations that I'm in, Gift, which is for travel entrepreneurs, they talk a lot about mindset and be in the mindset of you are currently where you want to be. And I never really thought about that in health. I've always thought about it in business and financial, but I've never that. I love that.
Yeah, it's kind of the same. It's a principle of success. Mm-hmm. So if somebody doesn't want help from, somebody like me, a health coach, somebody that knows about health, I would just say start with something small, right? Add a piece of celery into your day. Mm-hmm. I mean, take out a chip, put in a celery, right? Just like that small, right? Just have one extra serving of vegetables, for entrepreneurs. Maybe it's go for a walk. If you're stressed out and tired and you haven't got up from your desk, go for a 5-minute walk, clear your head, right? Maybe do a couple of those throughout a day to get up, or just that's really, we just usually overdo it. Like I said, you got to go to spinning for an hour. No, you don't. You just have to go for a nice 30-minute walk. If you don't have 30 minutes, go outside for 10, 5, whatever you have, just make it that small thing and commit to it. Give it your word and keep your word, right? If your word's important to you, make your word and keep it to yourself.
Yes. So the last thing I wanted to talk about was about mindset. And it's no surprise that us as travel entrepreneurs have had a really hard time. And so there are those moments. I know we all are really positive, and especially now, it's a little bit better to kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. But when things like suspensions keep happening in the cruise industry and the CDC is saying this and that, it does tend to feel a little bit hopeless. So what can we do to kind of ease the hopelessness and the fear and all those negative feelings? How can we ease them back?
Well, walking is a great mood booster, right? Just getting out and walking. And I think, really looking at situations in a different way, right? Instead of things happening to you, they're happening for you. And this is a lot of mindset shift, just realizing that you have complete power. So if you take this situation and you learn from it and you grow from it, like, how can I do things differently? What can I start setting myself up for now, so that if this travel becomes an issue in the future when there's another pandemic, right? Do I need to find another source of income? It doesn't mean you have to leave your job, but maybe pick up a little side gig. I think people should have more than one source of income anyway, no matter how big or small, just for reasons like this. So really being open and curious to what might be possible, right? So if a friend comes and says, hey, maybe you should check this out, our tendency is to be like, no, I'm focused on this. I've got to do this. But just pausing, because that's where I found all the great things in my life, is being like, oh, that's interesting. Let me see what that is. It may or may not be for me, but then at least I'll know. Right. So kind of just leaving yourself open. Of course, I would also recommend meditation. And it's hard for people because we're doers, we're action oriented, and meditation is doing nothing. And most people feel like they're failing. So I like to tell people, if you feel like you're failing, then you're doing it right. Perfect. Keep doing it. That means you're doing it right. Keep going. But really, when you're worried and stressed about something, you cannot access the creative parts of your brain. And so meditation allows you to just recenter and access the creative part of your brain that's going to give you the solutions that you're looking for. And then stay in community, right? Network. Usually when things go bad, we want to restrict and hide and deal in our own depression and whatever's going on, right? Anxiety, it just restricts us. But if we can create the habit of getting into community, talking with other people, we'll have new ideas, we'll be uplifted, and we'll feel so much better. We are pack animals. Yeah. And I think a lot of people have learned that, being shut off from other people, how important community and human interaction is. So really forcing yourself, whether you feel like it or not, to call somebody, to hop on that Zoom, whatever it is.
Yeah. And so many things. Like, I've started learning about more meditation. We had a meditation challenge in the industry a couple months ago. And I remember saying, like, I don't know how it's working, but I'm feeling more creative. And I'm not saying that to be like, yes, it works. I didn't think that meditation could do something like that, to bring on creativity and like just open yourself to possibilities. It's kind of like you're clearing all the garbage while you're meditating so that the good stuff can come back in.
Yeah. And you move to the higher brainwave states, basically, is what happens. And so then it's in those higher brainwave states that you have access to that creativity. And it doesn't need to be a long time. It could be 2 minutes. You could watch your breath for 2 minutes and have those benefits. So that's another one where people are like, oh, I got to sit for a half hour, and then they don't do it because it's too long. What can you do, right? Just breathe for 1 minute before a meeting, 2 minutes here or there. And it does. And you may bring up a good point too, is that people feel like they're failing during meditation. But if you notice the effects of meditation on your life, that's where you measure your meditation practice. Are you showing up? You're a little more calmer. You're not worrying about all of these things. You know, it's all going to work out for you, like whatever it is.
Yeah. And then being able to listen to your intuition, because one of the things that I've learned the past couple months too, because I'm always the one, like, if I'm just sitting still, I'm not working, and I need to be working and doing something. But like yesterday was a really great example for me that I did a lot of, because I work full time. So a lot of my business stuff happens on the off time. So the weekends, and then I have a writing day. So yesterday, I was kind of like, I really should do something, but you know what? I really should just rest, because I've been working kind of nonstop the past couple days, and I've become okay with that and gotten over the, oh, you're being lazy, Rita. But it's more for me like a mental health stabilizer.
Yeah. And, honestly, we've taken any stillness out of our days, right? Technology, life. We used to have it. We used to have those times where we just sat and did nothing. But now you don't. Well, maybe more since we're stuck in our houses, but but we just don't, right? And like you said, it could be seen as lazy, like you're not doing anything. But it's kind of like if you're going down the freeway at 70 miles an hour, you can't really see what's next to you, right? But if you slow down and you go 20 or 30, not on the freeway, maybe on a street, then you notice all the houses. Oh, look, there's a blue one there, and there's a person there. So you can see all of those opportunities and things that are coming to you. And it's kind of the same concept, just slowing down so that you can speed up.
Yes, totally. Yeah. And I think that's something that we have to like train our brains to do, because we're not welded that way anymore.
Right.
Do you have any programs that are coming up, or some way that everyone can stay in touch with you?
Well, I don't have any specific programs right now that I can think of.
Okay.
But people can contact me. They can find me on Facebook. I always accept friend requests, Beth Hazelton. Right. And then soon, my website, I do this with my husband. So it's BillandBeth.org.
Okay.
That they can go to. It's not up and running, but they can find me on social media And I'm happy to chat there with anybody that's interested in learning more.
Perfect. And I'll make sure to include your information in the show notes. Thank you so much, Beth, for coming on. And for all the listeners or the YouTube viewers, I hope that you have gotten just a little bit of tidbit and not so much resistance, that you've been able to at least get something consumable that you can implement. And if you need any help, you can always reach out to Beth to help you in your health and wellness journey. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was great. Great chatting with you.
Likewise. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for joining me on The Strategic Travel Entrepreneur. Please subscribe and leave the show a rating on your favorite podcast platform. Oh, and don't forget to take a look at the show notes for important information and links. See you next week.